Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to our weekly SEL. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit more serious. We want to talk about making Wilson Middle School a safe and kind environment here at school. Myself, Ms. Sayre, Mr. Medlin behind the camera, and all your other teachers, support staff, and everybody here, we want to make sure that you guys know that our main priority is to make sure that Wilson Middle School is a safe and kind environment for you guys to come into every day. And so that's a little bit what we're going to talk about. Ms. Sayre is going to talk about some more stuff that has to deal with you guys and some signs, symptoms you could see in some friends. Then we're going to have some questions at the end, and we're going to talk about a little bit of some other things in between. So, Ms. Sayre.
Thank you, Mr. Buckner. So, a lot of times here at school, you may notice that someone's struggling before we may notice that.
Yep.
And so a lot of times we use you guys as our eyes and ears in the school to let us know that maybe someone is struggling with something or they're just not as happy as maybe they normally are. So some things that you can look out for that can help us identify your friends that may be struggling are... one thing could be typically maybe a friend that you usually hang out with all the time all of a sudden doesn't want to hang out with you anymore, or any of their friends. Maybe it's somebody that you usually go to the park with and they don't want to come outside anymore or go to the park. It could be when you guys are gaming at night that person doesn't get on or doesn't want to talk on the headset. And this is usually over a period of time. So, people have off days, but this would be something that you're noticing is either a very big change from normal or is happening over, a few days or a week or so. Maybe it's somebody that usually doesn't get super emotional or angry, and all of a sudden they are having outbursts or they're really angry all the time or upset. That's definitely something that you want to keep an eye on. It could be that someone talks about hurting themselves or others. We've talked about this in our previous videos. You should always notify an adult when somebody talks about those things, just because that can be a sign that they do need to talk to an adult. And that's not something as a kid that you should wear on your shoulders. You should definitely notify an adult because that's our job to help with those things. Could also look like somebody, who generally is pretty hopeful and happy, all of a sudden they're not, and maybe they're super negative and that's not normally their personality. So those are just some things that you might notice in somebody. You could notice that they're not eating, that they're not sleeping, or maybe they're sleeping too much. So again, we just use you as our eyes and our ears sometimes because there's a lot of you, and only two of us and Ms. Bach are social workers. So if you do notice those signs and symptoms in somebody, let us know, and it's not always a cause for concern or an emergency, but it's just something that we can do to help support students here in our building is to know that might be going on with somebody. I'm going to throw it back to Mr. Buckner, and he's going to talk about just, some things you can do here at school to make sure we have a safe and kind environment.
Yeah, guys, so to kind of piggyback off that, if you ever hear something, whether it's, you see it on social media, you hear it in the hallway, you hear a friend talk about something their other friend talked about, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, you got to let one of us know. Whether it's one of us, whether it's one of your teachers, one of the lunch aides, Miss McCooch, Mr. Green, whoever. Just let an adult in the building know. And like I said earlier, that's our main priority, to make sure that this place is safe and kind for you guys. And if there's anything that ever makes you feel uncomfortable, please come talk to one of us. We want you to know that we will support you in whatever way we can, and that we're always here for you guys. And so, again, some examples of that could be is you hear that someone's going to hurt somebody else, or they're hurting themselves. It could be weapons, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, anything like that. I know sometimes we have this, I'm not going to be the snitch mentality. And I get it, I understand it, Miss Sayre gets it, she understands it. But at the end of the day, if there's a situation that we can prevent before it happens, we would love to do so. And so knowing that if it makes you feel uncomfortable, you feel a little weird about it, you got to let us know. It's going to be okay. We'll take care of it. We'll make sure that we make this place as safe as we can. I think Miss Sayre, she's going to talk about the last thing we're going to talk about before we get to the questions. So, Miss Sayre, you're up.
So, I'm going to talk about something called okay to say. Some of you may be familiar with it. Some of you might not be. Mr. Buckner has some fun posters here he's going to hold up at some point. But basically, this is a confidential way to report anything that threatens a student or school safety. And this is pretty important because let's say, you're outside of school because you're not supposed to have your phones during class, and you see something concerning on Snapchat or TikTok. what do you do in that moment? What if somebody, your parents aren't home or they don't have the contact information for the other student that is posting this information? You don't want to wait to come to school the next day to handle these situations. And so what can happen is you can report whatever you see or hear to OK to Say, and they will analyze what's going on and then they will respond appropriately. And so you can actually do this several ways. So you can call them, there's an email address, there's an app, and then there's a way you can text them as well. So you can submit these tips 24/7 with actually attachments. So let's say you do see a video or you see a picture, you can include that in your report, and this remains confidential. So nobody will ever know that it was you that reported. So Mr. Buckner actually just shared some things that you can report, but there's a long list. Pretty much anything is reportable that you're concerned about. So again, it could be alcohol, bullying, drugs, fighting, fire starting, could be again like the weapons he talked about, self-harm, texting inappropriate pictures or comments, stealing something, suicide threats in general, vandalism. So those are just some things, but again, this is a great resource, especially if something happens outside of school. It's that confidential tip that's submitted, and then the technicians that work there receive it, analyze it, and forward the tips to the appropriate organizations. So again, somebody says something concerning on social media, you're like, oh my gosh, it's 8 p.m. I'm not at school. What do I do? OK to Say is the way to go. And again, the proper people will follow up and do whatever is best for the other person involved. And of course, everybody's main priority is to keep everyone safe and supported. We're going to transition a little bit here. Mr. Buckner is going to talk about some questions that we want you guys to critically think about. Please take this seriously, and we would love your feedback as well. Before he jumps into that, I just want to let you know, and I know he feels the same way, we love all of you, and our job is, even when you maybe do some things that we don't agree with or, that we need to work on, we love all of you, and we want to support you here at school and make you feel that way, and you matter. So please reach out to us if you're struggling or somebody is struggling.
Yes. So, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to have some questions for you. We have 3 of them. So I'm going to read the 3. We're also going to give them to your teachers to prompt you as we go, so you don't have to remember all 3 right now. We just want to talk about it real quick. So the first question is I want you to think about what a safe and kind school looks like. And how would you know it is a safe and kind school environment? We want you to talk to your neighbor and then maybe share at the end with the entire class. What do you think would make a safe and kind school environment? If you're coming to school every day, what makes that? How would you know that it's a safe and kind school? Second question, we want to know from you guys, in what ways can you contribute to making our school more safe and more kind and a more positive environment? And the third question is, in what ways do you think us, the staff here at Wilson Middle School, can help this school be more safe and kind? So again, you're going to talk with your neighbors about this, and then hopefully you can share with the rest of your class. And then your teachers are going to share some cool things that you guys came up with. So we can, like I said, we want to make this place as safe and kind as we possibly can. And so hopefully some of this feedback will help us do that. I think that's all we have for you guys today. Yep. Remember, Miss Sarah said it, we love you. You may not love Mr. Medlin all the time, but he's a wonderful guy. We love you too.
I try.
And just to make sure that, again, you are a big part of this. You are the biggest part of the school community. 100%. So we want you to feel like you have some control in this too. So your feedback really does mean the world to us about how we can help you feel safe, supported, and that we have a kind school community here. So we love you, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.